Have you ever noticed that despite living in the cleanest, most sterile environments in human history, we seem to get sicker and more frustrated with modern health than ever before? We sanitize our homes. We wash our hands constantly. We take antibiotics for every minor infection. Yet allergies, asthma, eczema, and autoimmune diseases are absolutely exploding across the modern world. Why are our sophisticated modern bodies attacking everything from peanuts to pollen? It logically feels like our immune systems are completely confused. But what if I told you that there was a time, in ancient history, when humans lived in direct contact with pure, raw, unsterilized nature, and they almost never suffered from these modern problems? They didn't have allergies. They didn't have chronic inflammation. They were medical powerhouses, fighting off bizarre and ancient bacteria every single day. How is that possible? Welcome to Cavemen Curiosities. Today, we are digging into the bizarre, primal logic of the ancient human immune system. Today, we answer the ultimate question: why did we get too clean for our own good? To understand how a caveman survived without modern medicine, we first have to unlearn our modern definition of what is clean. In the Stone Age, clean didn't exist. Early ancient humans lived inside caves. They slept directly on the dirt. They wore raw, untreated animal skins. They ate food that was covered in sand, grit, and microscopic pathogens. Their hands were constantly filthy. The water they drank was unfiltered and often teeming with parasites, protozoa, and complex prehistoric microbes. Now, to a modern mind, that sounds like a death sentence. But for an ancient immune system, this environment was not a threat. It was a training ground. This environment was the boot camp that built human biology into a survival machine. In modern medicine, there is a concept, a dynamic theory, called the hygiene hypothesis. This biological logic suggests that modern childhoods are too sterile. When we isolate ourselves from germs, when we bleach every surface, when we treat children with aggressive antibiotics for minor fevers, we aren't just killing bad bacteria. We are starving the human immune system of its essential workout. You see, the human immune system is intensely sophisticated. Think of it less like a passive shield, and more like a massive, highly disciplined elite military force that is constantly active in your biology. And like any elite military, it needs constant, daily training to know how to function properly. Ancient humans provided that training by existing. Modern immunology further expanded this concept into the old friends hypothesis. This refined concept suggests that early humans didn't just fight microbes. They co-evolved with them for millions of years. Parasitic worms, certain species of bacteria, and various protozoa were so common in our ancient environment that the human immune system developed specific mechanisms, not to destroy them completely, but to constantly monitor and tolerate them. The immune system had an equilibrium, an active balance, called Th1 and Th2 immune response balance. Exposure to harsh bacteria and internal parasites, the old friends, kept the Th1 side very busy. But in the modern sterile world, when we use antibiotics and clean everything, the old friends are gone. The immune system has no opponent. 1,000 elite soldiers are standing around bored, ready to fight, but with nothing to do. And in primal biology, a bored military is a dangerous military. The system becomes hypersensitive. The immune system stops distinguishing between a dangerous pathogen and a harmless peanut or dust or pollen. And it attacks. We call that an allergy. The human immune system has become a bored bureaucracy, creating paperwork, fighting imaginary enemies, and destroying its own infrastructure. Let's look at a prime example of this primal logic in action: the human gut microbiome. Your intestine is not just an organ for digestion, it is the physical central base, the headquarters of 70% of your immune cells. Primal biology was optimized for this. Ancient humans ate a diet that was raw, fermented, and full of living bacteria and soil microbes. When they pulled a tough root out of the earth, they ate it, with the dirt still on it. That dirt contained soil organisms that served as nature's natural probiotics. This created an incredibly rich, incredibly diverse biome inside the ancient human body. A diverse biome is resilient. A healthy primal gut was packed with diverse species of bacteria that naturally competed with each other, preventing any single bad pathogen from taking over and causing a massive infection. Compare that to the modern human. Our gut is a biological desert. Antibiotics, processed food, and a sterile environment have sanitized our internal system. We have killed the varied microbial life inside us, and the result is chronic inflammation and a weak, uncalibrated defense. But the logic of survival, in the prehistoric world, came with a dark trade-off. While ancient humans didn't suffer from allergies, they paid a fatal price for their natural lifestyle. Life was intensely harsh. If a caveman drank contaminated water, they didn't just get a minor allergy, they got a deadly internal infection. A single parasite infection, that would be annoying today, was completely draining for an ancient human. Ancient human skeletal remains often show evidence of malnutrition, severe parasitic infections, and bone diseases that the immune system couldn't fight. They didn't get chronic, slow-killing modern autoimmune diseases like we do. No, their sickness was brutal, acute, and often fast-acting. Their biological defenses were incredibly powerful, but they were optimized for constant, raw conflict. The ancient immune system was built to keep you alive, from childbirth to maybe age 30. It didn't care about inflammation at age 60. Primal architecture was about immediate survival, not modern comfort or longevity. This biological structure worked perfectly, for millions of years, inside the hunter-gatherer system. The true evolutionary glitch, the catastrophic event for human health, happened 12,000 years ago. We have locked this variable logic before, but it is absolutely essential to reiterate its contextual payload. For the immune system itself, the agricultural revolution. When humans settled down, we stopped hunting wild animals and started farming grains. We created the first human settlements, but we also created the very first, ideal environments for infectious diseases to explode. We brought ancient animals like chickens, pigs, and cows, and we lived right next to them, often inside the same huts. These animals carried viruses and bacteria that had never existed in the diverse hunter-gatherer environments. We call this zoonotic transfer. Diseases like smallpox, tuberculosis, the flu, they all jumped from ancient livestock to humans. And because we were no longer moving every few days, because we were farming in our own waste, these diseases mutated faster than the human immune system could adapt. Hunter-gatherers were resilient to environmental dirt, but not optimized to handle dense, continuous populations and zoonotic pathogens. This created the very first pandemics. The intense pressure from constant new viruses caused human biology to change its focus. Natural selection started favoring immune systems that were aggressively reactive, ready to fight anything. Primal biology was shifting gears, from tolerating parasites and mild environmental bacteria to fighting intense viral loads. The immune system had no choice but to get hyperreactive. And that extreme hyperreactivity, in a modern world, where the viral pressure is now gone thanks to hygiene, is exactly why your immune system today still behaves like it is fighting an 8,000-year-old pandemic. It cannot shut off its extreme hyperalert defensive response. This entire geological timeline leads logically to one conclusion about modern human health. The solution is not to go back to living in filth and eating raw meat. Primal history was harsh and dangerous. That system is incompatible with the needs of a modern population. The extreme, fatal trade-off of ancient hygiene is unacceptable today. We need antibiotics. We need vaccines. We need sanitized hospitals. We need safe drinking water. Modern medicine is not the problem. It is our biological adaptation lag that causes the glitch. We are trying to run archaic prehistoric biological hardware inside a heavily sterilized, advanced modern environment. And the result is a system crash that we call an autoimmune disease. But what can we logically do to correct this evolutionary traffic jam? Some medical researchers suggest microbiome restoration protocols. Small, regulated actions, like letting children play in controlled, healthy dirt, and avoid aggressive sanitizing of every object, to provide the bored immune system with its essential, natural boot camp training. A controlled reintroduction of natural variability for our biological military. Primal logic suggests that finding a balance between ancient natural exposure and modern comfort and safety is the next step in human evolutionary medicine. So, the next time you use hand sanitizer for the third time in 10 minutes, or get mad about a minor allergy, just remember, you are paying the ultimate biological price for modern comfort. You are dealing with the logical, but frustrating, consequences of an immune system architecture that simply cannot comprehend how clean the modern world truly is. Primal history has proven that human biology was optimized to survive environmental filth and direct biological conflict. Modern comfort has won the battle against ancient sickness, but it has created a whole new kind of biological conflict inside our very own cells. What do you think? Would you prefer the ancient trade-off, an active immune system with almost no allergies, but the risk of fatal parasites, or the modern comfort and the confusion of autoimmune diseases? Let us know your biological strategy in the comments below. Primal history was harsh, but its logic was undeniable. If you learned something new about our bizarre ancient history, hit that like button, subscribe to Cavemen Curiosities, and we will see you in the next medical paradox deep dive.